Hi, we're Placebo, and we're coming at you from Essen. Well, we've seen it all in photos previously, and it looks pretty much how I imagined it, but it sounds better than I thought it would. I mean, obviously, it wasn't really designed to do concerts in, but it's pretty impressive, architecturally, and just the history of something being built for something completely different, now being used for something completely different. Um,
So this kind of thing
Well, for me, my father worked in a place kind of like this, a big feed mill, and those feed mills so when I came here today, it kind of made me think about that. It kind of brought me back to my childhood. I mean, obviously, it wasn't exactly like this, but kind of walking around and thinking if these walls could talk, and sort of what kind of what kind of people lived certain lives when it was in production here, and the type of the families, so the men that came in and out, and walking up and down the stairs and imagining like everyone sort of clocking in and clocking out. And me personally, that sort of reminded me of that, and the factory that I had my first job in when I was 15 as well, working assembly lines and stuff like that. Kind of, for me, it brought me back to all that, which is kind of cool.
so there's artists that build a whole career around.
No, I mean, for me, it's just it's a strikingly beautiful place, but not in an obvious way. I think when people hear the word beautiful, they expect something to be pretty, and for me, that's not always necessarily the case. You know, um, there are just I mean, there's so many. I guess from a photographer's point of view, this is a bit of a wet dream. There's so many lines, there's so many different planes, and sort of intersections, and uh, somebody who's very, very interested in lines, as a lot of photographers would be. Would find a a never-ending amount of angles that they could shoot this kind of industrial aging machinery from. You know, I think what Steve said was very inspiring um, about the toil and the sweat, and and obviously sort of the muscle and the pain that went into feeding your family in a place like this. Um, I mean, I can't make any comparison whatsoever in terms of um, hard labor, physical labor, you know. Um, but people often ask us, sort of what our inspiration is, and the inspiration is the process. It's the work. It's the discipline itself. Um, that's where you find ideas, you know. I think there's this romantic notion of, that the musician wakes up in the morning, in the afternoon, excuse me. The musician wakes up in the afternoon and he kicks the groupies out of bed. And then he rolls onto a needle full of drugs into the gutter and then spouts beautiful poetry to the moon, And maybe that works for some people for a short period of time, but, but in our case, it's very, very much about, the process and discipline itself, And if there's a great deal of satisfaction to be had from that Arbeit, kind of thing. And I mean, we really enjoy the creative process and writing and recording. So.
Well, what happens during a live show is we put in the energy that we can into our performance, and if we feel that there's an energy and a step forward by the audience towards us, that is when the magic happens. That's when it becomes a special moment. And it's very hard to please everyone, you know. When we come to tour a new album like we're doing now, we're obviously very excited about playing the new songs, because some of the old songs we've played for almost 20 years now. So we try to do a mix of songs that we feel that we have an emotional connection to still, and also to play some of our more, I suppose, commercial songs. And it's about finding the right set list for us, and I think if we can put in, you know, the right emotion behind it, then I think that transmits. And if the audience is receptive to that and they're enjoying it, and we kind of meet halfway, then that's when it becomes a really, really good evening.